what is the baddest, and I mean the baddest podcast in the land.
And you know it's the dad movement. Quit playing with me. It's the dad movement. Welcome, everybody. It is so good to be back on the dad movement. Hope everybody's doing good today. Episode 8 it is.
Whoa.
I know, we had episode 8.
That went quick, didn't it?
I know, man. Times fly when you're having a good time.
It seemed like we just started like a month ago.
It does.
But these weeks go by so fast.
They do.
And especially the great guests that we've had coming on, talking and just unpacking about being fathers and dads and being, yeah, I think it's just been good. It seems like it's gone fairly quickly, though.
Facts. No,
we just started.
We definitely had some great guests, but today, man, we got a really good one for you guys. We're going to introduce him here in a second, but this is Norm. I cannot go much further without checking in with my man, Nate.
You know it.
Oh, man, this is an old hustler. Came in today with the hiking
Don't do
shoes
me like that,
on
baby. Don't do
today.
me like that.
He went to track and trail this weekend and said, give me some of those. The most comfortable hiking shoes you got, and he's in here killing the game today.
They are. You know, I was going to get the Columbias, but I pulled up. These are Merrells. Merrells. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So I went to the shoe carnival. You know, the buy one, get one half
that
off.
BOGO.
Right? Yeah, I pushed up on the manager. I said, hey, I'm about to go hiking for the first time. I need a pair of sneakers. Sneakers, right? He looked at me like a pair of sneakers. No, you need some hiking. I said, okay. I was all right. Well, let me. Okay, well, can you take me to where they're at? He took me. I said, these are Columbias? He's like, no, Columbias are kind of played out. You might try these Merrells on and try these. These might work out. So I put them on. They were comfortable. And so now I think I'm going to use them, hiking and then doing yard work. And because, it's a little, But they're good, though. I like them. I would suggest them people who, if they're going to go hiking. I'm just not a hiking kind of a guy.
No doubt.
Hey, first time for everything, right?
Nah, man. I bet.
And in the line of work that I do, I gotta take people out and do things that they normally wouldn't do.
Okay.
And I'm finding I'm taking myself out to go do things that I normally wouldn't do.
I feel
it's
it.
kind of like a win-win, I guess. So.
And what are they called again? Merrell.
Merrell.
We need to check. That's what I was getting to. We need to check. We promoting out here, man. You're getting to an audience who would have never heard.
Yeah. Just come on, break us off a little something.
Now, we're going to snap in today. We got a very important guest.
Yeah.
We have the wonderful Principal of the Year.
Okay, Principal of the Year.
Principal of the Year,
Ooh.
Life Coach of the Year. I mean, just an all-out, wonderful guy, great mentor. He does so much great work in the community, a wonderful father, wonderful husband.
Yeah.
We have the Dr. McGee.
What's going on? Good afternoon. Hey, you said Principal of the Year. I guess you're trying to put that out there in the atmosphere. And I got you.
It's coming, man. We wrapping up, man. We there now.
I feel it.
How you doing today, Dr. McGee?
Man, I'm phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. We're doing virtual, right?
Okay.
Things have shifted again, so we're on that pivot right now. But you know what? I'm in a good space. My kids are in a good space. My wife's in a good space. And the kids that I work with, man, a lot of them are in a good space, And so the ones that aren't, we're working hard for. So we're doing what we're supposed to do.
That's what I like to hear, man. Nah, man, you're excellent brother, man. You're doing really good work. It's been a transition this year, man. It's been a year of learning, a year of trials. But, at the end of the day, it creates a more... I don't know. I feel more relentless right now too, though. We can get past this.
Oh, no doubt.
We can get past anything.
For sure.
So I know fatherhood has been definitely another piece that has, there's been some transitions. Usually you had your dads getting up in the morning, have a little interaction with their children. Then going to work, working all day. They get home, the kids may be in bed, maybe said a good night, had a nice little dinner. But there's very few interactions. But now you have so many dads who are at home or who were at home because of the stay-at-home order. And now getting adjusted to being a dad and being engaged, I know can be I know it was a little bit of a struggle even for me. I mean, what was that transition like for you, Dr. McGee, of being, having so much time to be home with your children? And, I got to learn a lot more about my child. What was that transition like of working from home for a period and being home with the family?
Well, can I ask a question before you answer
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Yeah.
Where'd y'all meet at?
That's a good point.
Where'd y'all first connect at? Was it in the schools doing this?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of, or what was the?
That's interesting.
That's good. Nah, me.
Give me the Reader's Digest version.
Real quick. Go ahead. I'll let you have it, and then you can answer the question. Go ahead.
All right, no doubt. So I tap in on these calls, these real dad calls out in Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
And I jumped on board and I went to a few meetings and really enjoyed myself. And in one of the meetings, I saw Norm there, and I'm like, I don't know who this dude is. I've never seen him. I've only been here 3-4 weeks in a row.
Right.
But I liked what he was saying. I liked how he was engaging. I was like, he's a pretty dope dude, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of weird. That was my first, at least that's where I first met you.
Yeah.
Right? And so I was like, okay, if you a real dad, then you all right with me, right?
No doubt.
And so, so definitely from there, we took some classes together, right?
Yeah.
So, it's been a little bit,
So
about
cool.
what, 6 months?
Yeah. No, time is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Time is fine. So we got to, man. We got to hang out a weekend.
Yeah.
We got a nice little weekend.
Yeah.
And a good men's trip.
Good.
Yeah.
Y'all went up north? Or stayed
we
local?
went to the range, man. We went to the range.
To the range?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We went to the range.
We went to the range.
We can't never go to the range here. You know that?
I know. We know, Nate.
We can't be felons in possession of firearms. So they don't let us go
You
to
know what?
They don't let us go to the gun
Yeah,
range.
man,
But I'm
it's-
glad that you guys got to go.
We got to go. Got to, shoot
You know what I mean?
some nice,
That's good.
Some nice.
That's really good.
Nice firearms, man.
We don't get to indulge
got to
in that
use
activity
our
here.
right, practice our Second Amendment, man.
Yeah, for
Just
sure,
exercising my right.
You know how it go. No, we had a good time, man. And then,
that's good.
like I said, then we got more connected with education, and then, like I say, he's a phenomenal father. So that's
Awesome.
Really.
If you don't, where'd you go to school at? University, and then what school are you a principal at?
All right, so I got all my degrees from Michigan State University.
MSU.
All three. MSU. I bleed green.
Okay.
My wife bleeds green.
white.
That's why I met her.
Yeah.
Michigan State University is my stomping grounds.
Awesome.
So got there, got my.
Because your shirt kind of fooled me a little bit.
You know what? And I
thought
knew
you-
that.
Yeah,
I figured
I
that
thought
might
he was-
happen.
I
It
thought
looked
he was
like
a
that's a
Wolf.
switch.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
thought you were a Wolverine. I thought you were getting ready to say, I'm University of Michigan.
No, I'm a
Okay.
here.
Okay.
But I can represent Creston High
Okay.
School because that's where I started when I came
Yeah.
to Grand Rapids area. So I started at Creston High School. But yeah, I went to Michigan State University.
Okay.
I got my bachelor's there in fine arts, and I also got a degree in art education. Right. So I did that. Taught in Lansing Public Schools. Did a phenomenal year, man. I was teacher of the year my first year, and I got laid off.
Wow.
It was like the same. I feel like it was the same meeting too. I was like, the superintendent was like, "Oh, congratulations, teacher of the year, first year. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're not coming back."
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. You're so
yeah.
amazing, but you're going to step out that door real
Right.
quick. Right. Yeah.
Right.
God bless you, too. I'm a superintendent.
Right. So then went back, got my master's, taught at the university.
At MSU?
I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
Good.
taught there, taught some classes there. Phenomenal experience. Loved it. Loved
bet, yeah.
it. Moved on to Grand Rapids. Worked at Creston High School. When I got my master's, and then moved to Grand Rapids. Taught at Creston High School, worked there. And in my back pocket, I had my admin certification.
Okay.
So when it was time to be assistant principal, I was ready.
Yeah.
I had it.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. So, did that. Became assistant principal at Central High School, Innovation Central in Grand
Okay.
Rapids, and Montessori, K-12 Montessori program. So I was assistant principal for both schools. At the same time, 2 different principals, 2 different programs,
One check.
1 check. Should have been 4.
I know, that's right.
So, and then I applied to get my doctorate degree. Toughest thing I've ever done.
Oh, I can imagine.
So I did that, and at that time, we moved to Kalamazoo. So I worked in Kalamazoo. I lived in Kalamazoo, worked in Grand Rapids, took classes in East Lansing. every weekend. And I drove this triangle for 3.5 years.
Whew.
Wow.
So I was full-time doctoral student, full-time. And after my first year in the doctoral program, I got the head principal job. So I was a new principal, doctoral student, trying to be dad of the year and husband. And I tell you, out of all those, my being a husband to that title was probably on the back burner the most because I was present, but I wasn't there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No,
like physically I was there.
Yeah.
But all my time I was typing papers, reading, and I was there, but I wasn't there. Tough.
Wow.
Almost like absentee in a sense, you know, how fathers are there, but they're not there. Present, but not present. And that same effect can roll over into our marriages if we're not, especially when we're overloaded and at capacity. Yeah, I can definitely see how that.
Yeah. So.
Well, you sound like a history maker is what you sound like.
Oh, yeah. We got one in the seat, man. I'm telling you. He's doing
juggling all these world-changing
doing
things.
good things.
How many people just go get a doctorate degree?
Man, yeah, I'm telling you. And it's no joke because you even say the marriage piece. I think they say, like, what is it? More than half of those who go through doctoral programs who are married end up in divorce.
Wow.
And
that's statistically?
My wife got her doctoral program. She went through the doctoral program at MSU, finished a few months ago, and they told her when she joined the program, when they found out she was a newlywed, they said that they did a study of...
is that statistics national or just
she said
Michigan?
She said it was higher in Ohio. I know she said it was higher, like in Ohio, it got to almost 70%.
Holy cow.
Wow.
They gave her a warning when they found out that she went to, my wife's a Buckeye. Yep, she went to OSU. And when they found out she was coming, they said that in Ohio it was even worse. That it was almost up to 70%.
That's heavy.
Yeah, I mean, it's deep stuff. I mean, she laughed, cried, and screamed all in the same day. You know, I knew what paper was due that day by her reaction of her emotions that morning. You know what I mean?
Real, yeah.
It's deep stuff, man. But no, I salute because you made it through, and like not too many others, he made it through, and he reaches back into the community to pull other brothers up. He wants to help his community.
Yeah.
You know, too often I think we pass those tests in life when we get to a place that we really worked hard to get to, and we forget where we come from. And don't get me wrong, I agree that sometimes the system brings you down this conveyor belt where it changes you, and you don't even know who you are by the end of it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But very few of us stay to a place where we want to say, no, I started off wanting to invest in my community, and that's what I'm going to stick to. So I really commend you in being that brother, man. I do.
Man, thank you. It's like I said, the struggle is real because I didn't say this part, but my wife is a physician. She's a physician. So she has her medical, doctorate degree, and I watched her go through it first, and then I did it, and now she's like, oh, I'm thinking about getting an MBA. So it's like, this it's tough. But when you have yourself rooted in who you are, you have your sight on your vision, and you know where you're going, you can kind of chart your way through that, no matter what. And so that's kind of where our strength lies.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to switch real quick. Nate, I like how you interjected that question.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I like where we just went.
Yeah.
And just to expand on this question, to get to that place, you had to have mentors and people pouring into you, right? To finish. And I mean, you still need it, to be honest,
Absolutely.
probably to get to where you want to continue to be. What type of mentors have you had in your life when it comes to your career, being career oriented and getting to where you needed to be, and as being a father? What type of mentors have you had?
Oh man, great question. So I've always wanted to be a motivational speaker, right? That's not where it started, but I had one of my mentors his name was Randy Grace, and he was born with osteogenesis imperfecta, right? So he's born with 20 broken bones, born with 20 broken bones. Wow. Wasn't expected to live. He was a motivational speaker for the state of Michigan, in a wheelchair, driving around the state, doing that work. I would accompany him sometimes. I'm like, yeah, this is dope. This is what I want to do. I want to motivate. I want to inspire. So he served that role for me. Like, this is what it looks like. It's a grind. So on that front, going to school, getting into schools, knowing that I still want to help inspire and motivate and empower people, I realized that education is my lane. It took a while to get there. But when I got there, I'm like, all right, now what do I do? How do I do this? Who do I look to? So I started, I think the biggest mentor I had in education was probably Dr. Rivers. Now, what I did was, after doing my teaching and being teacher of the year, right, I said, I want to be a principal one day, but I don't really know how to do it. So I created my own internship, right? I created my own internship. I went to principals. I went to their schools, got on their calendar and said, hey, for 6 months, I want to shadow you. I want to follow you. I want to be in your building every day. Is that something we can do? And she said yes. Now, Dr. Rivers, her name is Freya Rivers. She's dope. She was teaching kids algebra in first grade.
Wow.
And the way she led her school, I wanted to be like her. I wanted to be around her. And so I made my way to her, and she told me yes. Right? Then she set me up with so she was an elementary school principal. She set me up with a middle school, high school principal, so I had that experience. I was creating it because it didn't exist in where I was trying to go and what I was doing at Michigan State. Michigan State's phenomenal, but I wanted that extra. Yeah. So I did it on my own. So Dr. Rivers, and then after that, or even during that time, I latched on to Eric Thomas.
You got the E.T.
Eric Thomas,
preacher.
E.T. the hip hop preacher, and I met E.T. around 1999, 2000. I was a student. I watched him come in and speak, and I was like, the speaker piece, right? So I'm like, wow, I've never heard anybody speak like that. I've never heard anybody say what he said. I've never met anybody who's gone through what he's gone through and how he is and how he's. I'm like, wow. And so from then, I just followed him, got to know him, got to connect with him. And whenever I was able to reach out to him and say, hey, I need this, he would do it. He would do it. When I got to Grand Rapids, I want to bring some kids down to Michigan State. Can you come in and holler at him for me? He would do it.
Wow.
He would do it. And his integrity, his character, I'm like, yep, this is my guy. And so to this day, E and I, talk. My son's birthday was a few weeks ago, and I asked him to do a video for my son. Like, can you just do a video, shout my son out, and let him know what he needs to do from the age of 12 on? Because I feel like 12 years old, my son is entering manhood. He's starting to enter manhood. Right. So he needs some advice. He needs some words that's not coming from me. Yeah. Right? And he did it just like that. And he's the busiest guy I know right now.
Number one speaker in the country right now.
Number one motivational speaker in the world.
In the world. I mean, I'm sorry.
In the world. Reached out and said, all right, I'm going to do it. And he did it. So, those are just some of my mentors, man. And I've always felt like this. I have to have a mentor that's close in my age. So I do have some partners that are around my age that I kind of look up to. Yep. I have some that are older than me, and I have some younger than me. There are some young cats that are coming up. Ray Dale, man, I met Ray Dale when he was an 8th grader. Recruited him to my program, right, at Creston High School. And to this day, he probably doesn't know. He's a mentor to me.
Wow. Wow.
He's a mentor to me. So every level, but below you, around the same age, and some that are older than you. So now you're crossing all kind of generations, right? That's how you stay on your toes. That's how I do it.
That's an interesting concept. It's like if viewing each of us like a body of water, like a lake. In order for that lake to remain fresh and alive, you have to have a river coming in and a river going out. You need people in front of you pouring into you, and you need people you're pouring into. You need this, and it's kind of like what you're describing here. You got people pouring in from every angle.
Absolutely.
And then quite naturally, you'd have people that you're pouring into as well. Because probably some of this, I know with some of the men that I'm in a relationship with, it's a vice versa thing. We mentor, I'm a benefit and blessing to them, vice versa them back. But it keeps the stuff on the inside of us fresh. Yeah. Because anything that becomes stagnant, that's where bacteria and diseases grow around. If we don't have people pouring in, nothing going out. Yeah. But having people from all different ages, it's almost like a mentoring culture, so to speak, that we put ourselves in, or a discipleship culture, where it's not just one person that we feed off of, but it's a multiple a group of people who have the goods that we can feed on.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. That's a good way to look at that.
Yeah,
Like that.
Yeah.
keeping that stuff on the inside of us. First, because it'd be so easy to become complacent, stagnant.
Yeah.
If we're just left to our own thoughts and our own demise and our own paradigms, and we're never feeding on anyone else or having anyone else pour into us, right? I mean, it'd be easy to become stagnant and complacent, just not do anything.
Yeah, and it's like that with the principleship, because a lot of times you're on an island. If you're on the island by yourself, because nobody really understands the principal seat until you sit in it. When I was AP, for me, I was like, I can do the principal job.
Yeah.
I'm watching my principal. I'm like, okay, I'm taking notes. Like, this is
yeah.
easy.
Right.
I got this.
Yeah, right.
And then when I got that role, I was like, they didn't tell me.
Yeah, he forgot
They didn't tell me about this. This is not in the. What do you mean? Other duties as assigned.
Right.
What do you mean? I gotta stay here till 6 o'clock? What do you mean? I got a family at home.
Right.
And so for the dad piece, though, you asked me about the mentor for the dad piece. You know what? That's a great question, because for me, I feel like I just kind of in that lane. I just put my head down and started running because it was tough. I think that was more of, let me allow the negative, the things that I didn't want, to fuel me. I was running away from I'm not going to be like my dad. It's not going to happen. It's not. Yeah. So I focus on my kids. I focus on the kids that I serve, and I'm just like, it wasn't like there was a person that was like, you know what, outside of, people like E, some of my homeboys, some of my fraternity brothers who I'm like, Norman Hearns, I'm like, that's the kind of dad I want to be, not what mine was. And I can't even live in what that experience was. I can't hold on to it, right? So in that lane, I just put my head down. And there are a few that definitely stick out, because my goal was always to be a phenomenal dad. Like I always said this, listen, I want Oprah to call me and tell me I'm dad of the year. Like that's what I want. That's where I'm trying to get to. How can I be dad of the year? And I work hard at that, man. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I tell you, I work hard at trying to be a great dad, a phenomenal principal, a phenomenal husband. Like that's what I do.
Doing it with excellence. Yeah. Those
Excellent,
are worthy things to aspire to, you know what I mean? To being an excellent dad. Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
Ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man. As you see, I sat back because I'm just soaking all this in, man.
Yeah.
This is just, I think you have to know when you're in a room where there's just a lot of knowledge and you don't need to be speaking, you need to just be listening.
Yeah.
I feel like that right now, man. It's so much good information. Go
So
ahead,
tell
man.
me this: being a principal, you have to be confronted with challenges all the time from, parents coming up. Probably, I guess, depending on what kind of a school district you're principal of, wanting to cuss the teacher out to the kids smoking weed in the bathroom. In those kinds of circumstances, I'm assuming because like in my role here, being a boss and having staff, you're gonna make somebody mad. Don't matter which decision you make. They're gonna hate me over here. They're gonna love me, but if I make this one, they're gonna love me and they're gonna hate me. So being in your position, and mine's minute to yours because of how big your faculty are, your staff, and all that. What are some of your guiding principles in making those challenging decisions? Because I'm sure it's got to be rough at times. I mean, what is it?
It is.
Even if you could describe one of those tough situations and making a decision out of that, what is? I could only imagine.
Oh man,
but interested to hear about it though.
Yeah. So, I got something, and I'm like trying to think of a situation, but right. I gotta tell you, being a principal is one of the toughest jobs I've ever done.
I could imagine
in my life. It's the most challenging, super rewarding, especially if you're in elementary. Right, super rewarding because you're a rock star all the time.
Yeah.
Like even when you yell at kids and go off, the next day they're like, "Dr. McGee," I'm like, "You remember what happened yesterday?" Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah. Right.
But no, it's challenging, man. Parents, because you are that guy. You're the decision maker in that building. So, here's one. It's I don't know. It's probably not that deep to the person who's not in the seat. But we're virtual, right? Remote learning.
Yeah.
And we're putting a plan together to come back for a hybrid, 100% hybrid, and 100% virtual, right? So you can choose, right? So I have to look at my staff and say, all right, I have to decide who's going to teach hybrid and who's going to teach virtually.
Yeah.
Right? So there are a lot of people who like, I want the interaction with the kids. I need to be back in the classroom. Right? So for let's just say one particular teacher is really, really good with kids in person, and the virtual is not working. Like, I know that because I'm sitting in the back of these virtual classrooms watching. I have to make that decision. So I go around because my leadership style is I bring people in. Hey, which one do you prefer? If you had your choice, like just taking notes to everybody. But at the end of the day, I have to put out a list and send it to the superintendent. When I put that list out, there were some people who were like, "You're my hero," and there are some like, "How dare you? Do you know how long I've been teaching?
Right. This
you know
is
how
insulting.
much I have seniority. You mean to tell me I got to stay virtual?"
Yeah.
That was tough.
I can only imagine.
That was and that's to me that's kind of light. That's like, all right, you know what, I'm okay. I can deal, right? But you know, parents, they come in, they have gripes with other kids. I had a father who lived close to the school, and I get to the playground, and he's yelling I just see him yelling at kids, and I go over there and I'm like, what's going on? Well, this guy pushed my daughter off the swing, and I'm not having that, and I'll come over there, and I'm super professional in what I do. Super professional. I snapped. And I went over to the gate, and I'm yelling at him, and I said, I dare you come over here. And I forgot that there were 125 kids on the playground. And I'm yelling at the top of my lungs. They'd never seen me like this. And if it wasn't for my AP at the time, who saw me from the office, came out and grabbed me, right? We were going to fight.
Yeah.
But I was going to do it to protect all them kids he was yelling at.
Yeah.
This guy, who do you think you are?
Showing up to an elementary school yelling at some...
Craziness. To the guy who came into my school open carrying.
Wow.
And saying, listen, I can do this. And I'm like, I don't really know. Like, it's a school building, so can you... This was 2 or 3 years ago. I'm like, I don't know, but you're in here, great guy, but he has a firearm.
What's the purpose?
Huge.
What's the
I don't know what kind of gun it was.
Letting it be known.
Huge.
Right.
Everybody needs to know that. Right? Do I kick him out the building? Am I out of order for doing that? Am I infringing on his rights? Like, but I had to make a decision.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, at the end of the day, I have this principle. Like, I have this, in my office, I have a Ninja Turtle. And it's Leonardo.
Okay.
And he just kind of sits there, and that's my reference point. And I said, McGee, you always have to be like a turtle, right? You have to be hard on the outside, soft on the inside, but willing to stick your neck out. And so that's how I developed the courage to do what I got to do. Because I understand leadership is, if it's anything, it's one thing: courage. That's the skill you have to have. You can have all these other things, but if you have courage, then you can lead, because you have to make tough decisions, live with your decisions, or you go down with your decisions. But you have to be able to stand out for people, for yourself, and for me, that's what it is.
Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking as you're talking, there's the level of influence that you have, right? Students. You're mentoring and influencing people and don't even know it, because so many people are watching.
That's true indeed. Yeah.
So they may never come up and say, oh, let's sit down and have a one-on-one. I want to learn from that situation the other day.
Yeah.
Now, people are watching, and especially children, and we're in an elementary setting. One would think, children are like, in some regards, depending on probably the home life, how stable it is, that children are kind of like wet cement, so to speak. They're getting good impressions or bad impressions at school, right? And there's going to come a time when they get into junior high or whatnot, that cement begins to harden.
Oh, for sure.
And they've seen how the adults or the people with influence around them had been behaving, and they just assume that this is how you handle these situations. But having someone of good character who actually lives by a set of healthy core values living this out in front of the children. I mean, they're taking it's almost like mental snapshots on how to respond in heated situations, how to maintain your professionalism, how to walk in integrity, how to treat parents when they come up and yell at the teacher or whatever the case may be. They're watching all the time, and people are watching, especially those of us in influence. Right, all the time they're watching, and so you're impacting people and mentoring on many different levels of folk you probably won't even know that you actually impacted them. You know what I mean?
No,
so it's like
it's a big responsibility.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely.
It is. I want to circle back on something real quick. You said it earlier, and I've been thinking about it as I've been sitting. You were saying growing up, or as a father now, pretty much, that you run from not being like your dad.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest qualities that you run from that you do not want to be like your father? What are some things that you say I cannot be within my child's life of what my dad was?
Right. I can't be, absent. I can't be addicted. Right. I can't be. I like to say this. I have to be consistent. I'm constantly working on that, man. It's not. I don't even have that all together. But those are definitely some things that come to mind because at the end of the day, he wasn't there. He wasn't there, and that's a lot. That's a story for a lot of young black men. Like my dad wasn't there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he left. I was 3. Right. And he was addicted to selling drugs. He was a male dancer. Right. He was gone. Never done anything for me. So it's like, I don't want to not do things for my kids. I do not want to be absent I need to be there. Yeah. They need to see me consistently. That's what they do. Even during the doctorate, I was still there. I might not have been all the way there, but I was there.
There. Yeah.
Right.
And that's huge. That's huge.
Well, yeah. So basics. Those basics
is what you said. Now, being real and transparent, do you still feel resentment towards your dad right now? Is there still resentment?
Here's the thing. No, I'm being super honest.
I believe
because this is the deal. My younger brother, 3 years younger than me, right? Okay. So when he was born, I was 3. My dad left, so he didn't get to really know him. And so I had an experience when I was 15. I saw my dad on the bus. Now, mind you, I hadn't seen him since I was 3.
From 3 to 15. Okay.
Right? I saw him on the bus, knew exactly who he was. Right? And I see him at the back of the bus. He knew where my grandmother stayed. We stayed there. He knew. I got off the bus to go to my grandmother's house. He gets off too. We have a conversation. And he said, I feel bad. I was selling all these drugs. I was making all this money. And I never gave you a sock. I'm like, yep, you're right. And as he's telling me his story on how he had all this money, doing all these different things, I just said, I forgive you. I was 15. That didn't come from me. But I did, and I said, okay, I'm just going to. To this day, my younger brother has not forgiven him. He's angry at him. And I'm like, I promise you, the minute you do that, the minute you forgive him, everything's going to open up for you.
Freedom.
That's why you always have these closed doors. We had an argument about it about 2 months ago. And I forgave him then, right? I talk to my father now at least once a month. At least once a month. He called me 2 weeks ago. I got to call him back, right? Because that's just where the relationship is, and it's fine. When we talk. I just learned that I have 8 other siblings.
Wow.
I just learned this.
Wow.
I just turned 40 in March and realized I knew of 2. I knew I had 2 other siblings outside of my brother and I. I have a total of 8.
What?
So I'm working on that.
No. I'm
working on that.
Wow, that's deep. Yeah. Well, how did you know you got to a place of forgiveness? I think a lot of people, like you said, out there have had an absent father, and it's something that they struggle. I mean, some people say absolutely yes. Some people say, I don't know. Some people will say, no, I still hate him. How did you know you got to a place of forgiveness? What did that look like to you?
You know what? I think it was, so I told you that happened at 15,
yeah,
right?
Correct.
So I saw him then, didn't see him after that. When I turned 18 and was at Michigan State.
Okay.
I talked to him again on the phone. And I had my mom reach out, get his number. I called him and said, I just want you to know that I made it to Michigan State University. I made it through high school. I made it through life, this whole journey of manhood without you. And I'm okay. So it was that moment when I called him on the phone at 18 in Hubbard Hall, standing. I remember it like it was yesterday, right? And I had that conversation with him. That's when it was solidified for me. It happened at 15, solidified at 18. So between 15 and 18, yeah, I had my issues. Yeah. And I would still say that I still have daddy issues to this day. Okay. I still have them. Even though I'm pretty secure in who I am as a father, and I'm secure in the relationship that I had with my father and that I have, there's still some, I call them potholes, just like a wrinkled sheet of paper. Yeah. My paper is smoothed out. Yeah. But you can still see the wrinkles. And it'll never be like a fresh sheet of paper that comes out of a package, right? So I still have, and I learned I knew how connected we were by this interaction. I said, you have not been in my life, but you know me. How dare you know me, right? Yeah. How dare you know me the way you do? The connection is strong. And so that's the part I think I'm turning the corner on, because talking to him once a month, I realized this guy, I'm him. So all the things that I'm weak, where I'm weak, I see it in him too. That's why I have to work on being consistent, because if I'm not working on it, I won't be. And I don't know where that comes from. Yeah, I know it comes from because he's not consistent. He's not consistent in our phone calls.
Right.
We talk once a month. That's not the deal. That's not the agreement that we have. Right. But we talk once a month. We're supposed to talk every week. We talk once a month. But he can't be consistent. But neither can I if I don't work on it.
That intentionality, right?
Man, listen, I got on my Facebook, I'm doing 30 words a day to work on my consistency. I just want to talk about 30 words for 30 days just so I can practice being consistent. Because if I don't, it's probably like alcoholism that runs in the family, right? If you have a granddad or somebody who's an alcoholic, right? The chance of you being an alcoholic is very, very high because it runs in your family. I think this runs in my family. So I focus on it.
Nah, man, I think that's powerful, man. Yeah. And when you said that line about I called him at 18 at Hubbard Hall, it made me think of that scene off of Drumline. I don't know if you ever seen Drumline, but it was a similar scene when he called his dad and said, I made it, just wanted you to know. And right now, I think you are that little boy that you serve, right? You are those elementary kids who didn't have a dad, but you know that there can be success in their future if they just find something to cling on to and run after it with everything in them. And I think to see you in your image is one thing, but the man you have become, I think you're planting, like Nate said, you're planting seeds every day that you don't even get to see necessarily you get to see them grow, because sometimes you get them for 6 years in elementary and then they're gone, and sometimes they don't fully flourish until high school, college, or age 30. You never know. But I personally want to thank you for investing in your community. I want to personally thank you for being relentless in your approach of being the father that you are and the husband that you are, and coming out today, man. Today was a powerful interview. It's not often where I'm just a loss for words, man. Nate, I thank you because you had so much, I think, fruit to give, and I think this message is full of hope. I think it's full of what it is to be resilient and what it is to go after something you want and not let no be an answer, man. Yeah.
That's so good.
For sure.
What would you say is your greatest kind of, I don't know, what word will we say? What is your, what's your greatest triumph in being a dad? And then what would be the main thing that, I guess probably consistency or whatever, the thing that you'd say that this is the thing I need to be the most intentional about in being a dad. Because so many folk who will be listening to this particular podcast, and especially those of us who've come out of broken homes, consistency is a huge, right? Where a lot of us, I know, like for me, I had an absentee father. You know what I mean? And then you get some guys who didn't have dads at all. Yeah. Right? And so, like you said, a lot of that stuff gets passed on to the second, third, and fourth generations where we're battling things that our dad struggled with, and because they never confronted and dealt with it, they passed it on to us.
Absolutely.
And if we don't confront and deal with it, we may very well pass some of these things on to our children.
Absolutely.
Right? So what would you say is your greatest strength in being a father, and the thing that is the most necessary thing that you believe that is important, that especially for you, but for all men, on being dads? You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Got you. So I would say three things. Number one, for me, I'm super, super self-aware. Like, I know me. I can just tell you what my tendencies are. I can tell you what works and what doesn't work. I can tell you where I'm strong, where I'm weak. I know me, right? So turning it around, the other thing with my kids, to know them. Communication and understanding. That's it. Two things, communication and understanding. So the way in which you communicate with your kids, how you communicate, it has to be really predicated on how they are and how they understand. So in order to really get your kids to do what you need them to do, or build the relationship you need to build with them, you need to understand how do they communicate.
Yeah.
I have a 12-year-old son who is an introvert, who is, listen, he will shut down on you. He's not emotional, so you don't really know how he's feeling. Yeah. And you have to understand that that's just how he presents. Yeah. It's not that he's not listening to you or tuning you out. No, he's contemplating because he's super empathetic. So he's always thinking about, how can I say what I want to say and not offend you and not make you mad. It's not that he's not listening. That's how he rolls. Yeah. So I have to stay calm and consistent and smooth with him, right? When I talk to him, when we're doing homework, I have to be I have to be very predictable to him. I can't go up. I can't modulate. I have to just be very even with him, or he's going to start feeling bad, or he's going to tune out. My daughter, totally different. She's totally different. Norm, she's totally different.
I got the same problem.
My daughter is spicy, man. She's spicy, and she's always throwing something back. I get super emotional with her. We argue every day.
Yeah.
And we argue every day.
Yeah.
And the only time that I get her to do what she needs to do is I have to be like the alpha. And I have to remind her every day, because every day I think she just rejuvenates, like, today I'm the alpha. Today. I'm like, no, you're not. Right? I have to do that all the time. So communicating with her looks very different than communicating with my 12-year-old.
Absolutely.
And my 5-year-old. Yeah. He's super emotional, right? So if I get I have to communicate. I have to love on him and kiss on him, and he'll be fine. If I'm not doing that, though, I am mean, and he's going to just totally push away from me. You know? And so with my kids, it's the same thing with my wife. I have to speak her language. So my thing is, how do I morph and speak all their languages all the time? I'm always doing it. You did the juggling thing. It's for real. I do that mentally too and emotionally.
You got to.
Right? You got to with kids, right? And when I do that well, it's because I know them now. So now I can communicate myself. When I need them to hear me, I communicate in their language. When I need them to understand something, I communicate in their language. And when I'm receiving things from them, I'm receiving it in their language. Like, oh, she's not really yelling at me. My wife like, you don't let her talk to you like that? I'm like, she's not really talking to me like that. She's just not. She's just super, super emotional. She's spicy, right? And she's trying to get things done, right? She's not talking to me, but I have enough of my ego is not all in the way blocking all of that. Yeah. Because I understand my daughter. Yeah. It's a struggle, though, because I'm a human being. I'm like, you think you doing
I feel you.
Today? Yeah. So that's where I live. It's the communication and understanding and being super self-aware of yourself and aware of the others around you.
So good.
Man.
I love it.
Man, today, like I said, man, super grateful for you, Dr. McGee.
Yes.
Nate.
Thanks so much.
Good to have you here, too, Nate, man.
No doubt.
Thank you guys for tuning in today. I think this was a powerful segment. I know it's going to bless a lot of listeners out there. I'm already calling it. We got to have Dr. McGee back. I would love to continue this conversation, man. I hate to end it right here. Yeah, we'll put you back on, man.
I'm on it, man.
No, we're super grateful, man. I think, your 3 whys at the end, I think were very powerful. I think all around. I mean, your story, all of it. Yeah. So, no, man. Hey, guys, thank you for subscribing to the Dad Movement. Thank you for listening. Share, like. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Get connected with it. we'll keep rolling. We'll keep putting out content. So,
But one more thing.
what do you have to ask, Nate? What do you
gotta
have
tell
to
me this. What is the baddest, and I mean the baddest radio podcast in the land?
It's the dad movement, baby. Quit playing with me, Nate. Hey, we glad to have you guys. Take care. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Peace.